So, what would you like to know? And I always kent he had his eye on my daughter Annie. And indeed, it would have been an honour to hear Robert Burns as a son-in-law. You see, I'm no boasting, Mr. Gray. But I could see from the very first that he had something special. He had that hungry look, and pale, and shilpit. Shilpit, thin. You know, they had less to eat than the mice in the cup. Aye, and he had that long hair tied back. But it was the eyes, big and black and full of fire, especially when he spoke with passion, but which was nearly always. Or when he was reciting one of his poems, and then the words would just pour out of him. And no just blethers. The boy was learning. His father had seen to that. A remarkable man, William Burns. You know, he organised a school in Alloway, and Rab and his brother Gilbert had 10 to 12 years of the schooling. And with Rab, it was like lighting a fire. Kept blazing long after the school was over. When he was not holding a plough or cutting peat, he had his nose in a book. Folks was always dumbfounded, amazed. He could hold his own on any subject under the sun, with the best of them. Was that the first poem I heard from him? Oh, I remember that well. We was all cutting peat for the winter, down in the Lochleigh bog. And I was telling him how I'd met William Ronald at the Mart. Now, Ronald was by way of thinking he was a gentleman farmer. All that meant was he had more siller money than the rest of us. And Ronald had told his two bonny daughters nae to speak to Rab Burns, that it wasn't good enough for them. So there was Rab, standing in the bog. Standing in the peat bog, pulling 15 verses out of his pocket and casting a spell on herself. And driving a spike into Ronald's wame. His wame, that's his prideful belly, Mr. Gray. In Tarbolton, you ken, there are proper young men, and proper young lassies and all, man. But ken ye the Ronalds who live in the Bennells? They carry the grief frae them all, man. He could bite. What's that? Bennells. Oh, well, Bennells is just the name of Ronald's farm. And carry the gree means take the prize. He was saying, in other words, that Ronald and his daughters was more proper than anybody else. Which was nae a compliment for Rab Burns. See, he couldn't stand airs and graces and one man thinking he was better than another because of where he was born or how much money he had. You'll ken is there for honest poverty. Aye. Well, that says it better than it ever has been said or ever will be said. What though in hamely fair we dine, wear hodden grey and all that, gie fools their silks and knaves their wine, a man's a man for all that. For all that and all that, their tinsel show and all that. The honest man, though e'er sae poor, is king of men for all that. Oh, is that not grand, Mr. Gray? Hamely fair and hodden grey. Well, in your English, you would say, what though on common food we dine, wear coarse grey cloth and all that. You see what I mean? Just doesn't work in the English. And Rab himself knew it. I remember he tried to put down a similar sentiment in the English once. How did it go? Mark yonder pomp of costly fashion round the wealthy titled bride. But when compared with real passion, poor is all that princely pride. Ti-tum, ti-tum, ti-tum. It's just not the same. Put it beside the Scots one. A prince can mak a belted knight, a marquis, duke and all that. But an honest man's aboon his might. Good faith, he mun have thought that. For all that and all that, their dignities and all that, the pith of sense and pride of worth are higher ranked than all that. Now that gets you in the tripes, does it not, Mr. Green? I told him to put the English one in the fire. Oh, I wasn't afraid of telling him my true thought, because then I wouldn't have been a true friend. And Rab wouldn't have thanked me for any false bouquets.